spaghetti.
S-D-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hey, so we announced the show, but let's re-announce the show. We're going to Kingston.
Oh, that's why
Jamaica.
Saturday Night Live.
It's Saturday Night Live on Sunday in Kingston.
At 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Dua Lipa.
No, Dua Lipa will not be there, but we will be. Kingston Frontenacs, SDPN. We're taking over at the game against the Saginaw Spirit on January 21st, 2024. It is a Sunday, Steve Dangle Podcast night. So we will actually be doing a show afterwards at the Merchant Tavern, which is the Merchant Tap House, which is right next door. So you only have to cross the street. Also, as a part of this package, if you buy the VIP package, and a lot of people were like, hey, I didn't see this on the Ticketmaster thing. Don't worry, it's already included. If you're one of the people that buys the VIP, $65, you get to skate. You get
on
to
the first line.
Yeah, you get not on the first line. You get to skate. Oh. You get to skate with us on the ice and Barrick the Bear. Let's not forget Barrick. Yeah. You get to go to the Kingston Frontenacs game, and then you get to come to our show at the Merchant Tap House following the game, and you get VIP seating at the restaurant, and you get a meal voucher as well.
You're sure it's Barrick?
Barrick the Bear.
It's not Barack?
No, it's not Brock.
Okay,
and I believe the skate starts at 11.
Yes.
So if you got to be able to get down there for 11 to noon. I think we got an hour on the ice.
Yeah.
So it starts so early because they have to prepare the ice for the game after we destroy it with our bad skating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
if good skate. Why did the camera go to me? Why was that? What happened there?
I think it was a fair point. The camera made a good point. Also, if you want to spend $50, you still get a ticket to the Frontenacs game. You still get a ticket to the Steve Dangle Podcast live show, and you still get a meal voucher for the Merchant Tap House. So you still get the meal as well.
You still get it.
$50. KingstonFrontenacs.com. Act fast, because actually the ticket sold really, really well. And then we had a bunch of people that got an error message. That has since been rectified. And if you continue to have issues, please don't be afraid to tweet or call the Frontenacs, because somebody actually will pick up the phone.
You know why we got that error message? Because we're Taylor Swift and we overloaded Ticketmaster with our Kingston Frontenacs event.
Yes.
We caused Ticketmaster to crash, and a lot of people couldn't get their tickets.
More like
we fixed it.
The Saginaw Spirit, I'm not cheering for them.
That was good.
I'm not really sure where that was going to...
No, I don't know where that came from, yeah.
Are you telling me that's not Spirit? Dog?
All right.
The only thing I know about the Saginaw Spirit is that at one point, Stephen Colbert was their mascot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Steagle Colbeagle the Eagle or something like that. That's what he had his fans vote on it, and they won. And so it was a mascot with glasses for a while. I'm not sure if it's still the same. Probably not.
It's probably not nearly as cool because they're playing the Frontenacs, and the Fronts are going to win.
That's right. It's true. It's a good point. Now, we were talking about John Tavares and getting booed, and there's been a whole bunch of different things, but I wanted to mention this because Corey Everman messaged me, and he said, hey, Adam, after hearing you guys talk about Tavares getting booed on the most recent episode, I wanted to chime in. I'm a Blue Jackets fan. I consider myself an expert on players leaving my team. Dubois, Jones, Panarin, Bobrovsky, etc., etc., etc. Nash.
Zach Werenski, the only Blue Jacket ever to stick around.
He stayed.
Is still there.
He stayed. Rick Nash did stick around for a while. He did.
He left
longer
eventually.
Than he ought to have.
And while these players still get booed when they touch the puck in Columbus, there is one player who is still getting booed, even though he hasn't been a Blue Jacket since 2012. Can you name the player?
2012. My first instinct was Seth Jones, but that was like recently.
Yeah. And was Seth Jones traded because he wouldn't sign an extension?
Yes.
There? Okay.
Yeah. I was like, logically, Seth Jones didn't want to be there. They traded him to Blackhawks. Blackhawks suck. He gets booed all the time, but I guess that's not the case.
Who it is.
I know you know.
Everyone forgets this player was ever a Blue Jacket. That's how bad he was as a Blue Jacket. Jeff Carter.
Jeff Carter. Summer of 2011, the Blue Jackets traded fan favorite Jake Voracek.
Oof.
And a 2011 first round pick, which turned into Sean Couturier.
Oh!
And a 2011 third round pick, which turned into who? Just guess.
2011
third round Philadelphia.
Dua Lipa.
Nick Cousins.
No way.
To the Philadelphia Flyers.
Dua Lipa.
To Dua Lipa. I know.
Damn.
For Jeff Carter. Fans thought this was finally the center to play with Rick Nash. Instead, We got a big crybaby who did nothing but complain about being traded, didn't show up for the first practices, forced his way out of town after 8 months, and then later won the cup with the Kings that year.
Yeah, he was rewarded with the highest honor in the sport.
You better believe Jeff Carter gets booed and will continue to get booed in Columbus until he retires.
No,
That is
right.
his tenure in Columbus is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That package. Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Yo, have you heard
He
about
pulled
the
a
package?
PLD long before PLD.
Did you hear what the Leafs were going to get for Sundin when they were going to trade him to the Flyers?
Wasn't
the
it?
Flyers?
Yeah, there was a Vancouver package on the table, and there was a Philadelphia package on the table.
No.
So the Philadelphia package included Jeff Carter and I think a couple of picks and or Mike Richards. The Vancouver package was something else, and I can't remember what that was, but it was also pretty enticing.
Wasn't
And Matt's basically said, don't trade me. And they didn't. And then he left. No, he retired and then signed with Vancouver like 6 months later.
Wasn't there a rumor that like Sundin was going to go to the Flames and they were going to offer like prize prospect Brandon Prust?
Oh, is that right?
And
I don't know
remember
that.
Oh, glad that didn't.
I don't remember that. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Maybe it was Cowboy.
Who do you boo? That's our new segment. Who you boo?
Who do you boo?
On the
Who do you
SDP. Now, there is a lot of NHL news. We're not going to get to all of it, but we'll start with the Leafs coming back from a 5-0 deficit to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have blown the most leads in the NHL
history.
to this point. They have the worst plus-minus in the third period in the entire NHL. I believe it's a minus 30
Oh my God.
in just the third period. And frankly, when they mentioned that on the broadcast, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if... And they get a couple goals in the first 3 minutes. That Nylander goal, I was like, maybe I should stick around for this. And it started to happen. Now, in true Leaf style, the Leafs lost in overtime. Because you can't have it all.
100%. Just like the Tavares one. You can't have it.
But
Mike Stevens, to his credit, in the group chat, was like, I've never been more sure. It was 5-4 or 5-5 at the time. He goes, I've never been more sure of an overtime loss in my life.
oh, it's true. Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's funny. That overtime was spectacular. Wide open, crazy. And the Leafs could have ended
It was all Leafs.
Leafs could have ended it 3 times. They just
Hilarious.
didn't make it happen.
Yeah.
Listen, I think what's really, really important here is like there are people today who are like, Nylander, I think, said post game, I like the fact that this team is confident enough to know that we can come back. And there are people rightly criticizing that because you don't want to fall down that far. And I get that.
Right.
And you had Sheldon Keefe say after the game, there was some stuff here that was like unforgivable, but unacceptable. And given what's happened, I'm glad that we got the point or whatever. So let's explain for context why the Leafs it was probably the first period of that game might have been their worst of the entire year. Why?
Oh, easily.
What's going on?
So, William Lagesson, Ilya Samsonov, and Matthew Nyes now have all missed time recently due to illness. When that happens, it means, in my opinion, my assumption, my educated guess, the majority of the team is playing at less than 100%. I've also gotten the impression it's more than one illness making its way through the team. It could be a flu. It could be the poo. It could be the flu that gives you the poo. But these guys, I think, are like, I'm willing to bet more than one of them puked yesterday.
So just
had an IV bag.
to put it in context, like Matt Tkachuk had a broken
Sternum.
and played hockey. So how sick, you got to think about this. How sick do you have to be to miss it?
Well,
and
that's
Matt Nyes has missed 2 games.
I mean,
And I know it's not the Stanley Cup final, but you're a rookie missing 2 games. It's not because you want to.
Kachuk also wasn't terribly effective with a broken sternum. I
No.
think that's pretty.
But the point I'm making is hockey players don't traditionally like to miss it, and they're always managing injury
Right.
and
it's,
illness.
It's the regular season, and there's nowhere to hide, right? Like one injured player you can hide in your lineup. If you have like half a lineup that's, cramping up, or they don't have as much energy as usual, the amount of mental brain farts they were making yesterday.
Sloppy passing,
It was
lots of
so-
giveaways.
It didn't worry me because we knew about the illness thing, and also it was so uncharacteristic of them given how they've played recently. the Max Domi brainless pass and Noah Gregor blowing the zone. And Samsonov was awful. That was Laguson's worst game as a Leaf, in my opinion. And he's been...
Some penalties that were out of character for him.
Well, and I don't know if he's going to get a hearing or anything. But
for the lining thing? I don't think
foot,
so.
I don't know.
I don't even think that was an intentional slew foot.
No.
It didn't seem intentional.
Like Brad Marchand's was a direct can opener, and it wasn't even a penalty.
No.
So I doubt that.
If Lagesson gets a suspension
for
that, I'm going to be
not
like...
Brad Marchand.
Yeah, but I think we're past that.
Yeah. No, we would have heard about that. I think that's... Unfortunately, and I know Blue Jackets fans are going to hate me for this, and I would hate me for this, I do think that was just an accident. I really do. Lagesson is tough, but he's not cheap. He's not dirty. Like
not
in a bad way.
I know of.
Yeah, not that I've seen. So
Anyway,
I just don't. It's
the Leafs were dragging ass.
Yeah,
they were dragging ass.
And it's because they're sick.
Yeah, and if they had played a bunch of games that looked like that recently, I would have hammered them. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, they're 9-3 no, they're not. They're 9-1-3 heading into that game over the last 13 games.
Last time they lost in regulation was early November.
That's crazy. And Sheldon Keefe even said earlier in the day. It sounded like he wanted to make, or it sounded like a bunch of guys were game time decisions.
Right, and I think only the Flyers have a better record since the start of November.
Isn't that? And it's not even like the sickness is I think the biggest issue, but it's also Nick Kypreos and Justin Bourne said it a million times on the broadcast. The schedule loss. You're coming off the road trip. This is the team that sucks. You're going into the big matchup on Saturday with Pittsburgh. You usually struggle in this game, and they did. Mm-hmm. And they came out flat as expected because of everything that went on top of that. And it was just the dad's trip. I'm sure they had no fun in New York with their dads. And then coming back from that road trip, you're back home, quick turnaround game, Columbus. You're sick on top of all of that. It makes sense that you struggle in this game.
You know what's funny, Jesse? I think there's legitimately something to what you just said about the dad's trip, because after that, those back-to-back games, Tavares hits 1,000, then you win the next night. It's New York. Ty Domi's there. He was on the Rangers. He has connections.
They went to bed early.
Yeah, so they all went out. I don't think it was just
Steve. They went to bed at 9:30.
Well, if they did, I'm sure they all got together in the same hotel room and watched a movie. And when they did, they all gave each other a cold. And that made them sicky poo.
Mm-hmm. No, Ty Domi, the most well-connected man in North America, didn't have a good time.
Yeah, you saw Ty Domi in that picture with Tom Brady and Cher.
He's everywhere.
At the casino. Yeah, Ty Domi is a very, very smart businessman. He also brings people together. He's like he's like the guy that's like, hey, you should meet this person. That's Ty.
How long until we see him receive a medal from Joe Biden?
I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know if that's. I'm not sure if he's at that level yet, but I'm sure that's his ambition. That's the thing about this guy. He's like, he's an ambitious person. I think, why not?
I'm so happy Max is in the organization.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's kind of cool.
He also is really good. I know that.
Yeah.
Not in 3-on-3. Holy shit.
Yeah, not 3-on-3. But I don't think he didn't have a great game last night. That giveaway, one of his giveaways led to a goal. But I do have to say, $3 million for your third line center. And I know Steve keeps saying, well, he won't become playoff and whatever. I really like that line. Robertson again last night.
I'm starting to believe.
Merzlikins made an incredible save on Nick Robertson. And I'm like, that guy, one of these days, he's going to go on a streak where he scores in 5 straight games. It's coming.
I hope so. He gets demolished every game.
Mm-hmm. But the point was the sickness, everything on top of that. It makes sense that the Leafs are going to struggle in this game.
And when did the Leafs kick ass? Exactly, when they were standing stock still. 6-on-5.
Yeah.
So the less they had to move, the better they were.
Couple goals from Samsonov that I think you wish you could have back, but I also think he might be sick.
The one JT hated.
Man, that was the third one, I believe. The one that was behind the goal line. It's just limply backhanded, and Samsonov knocks it into his own net with his blocker.
And then the next one is off the mask and through his 5-hole. I've never seen that at the NHL. Off his mask and through the 5-hole?
It was a video game goal.
Yeah,
you're everyone not supposed to go in.
Everyone hates Ilya. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel for
nothing
him,
going his way.
There is nothing. That seemed like a little bit of bad luck. I want to say this, though. Apparently, it's Corey Sanford, right?
Curtis
Sanford, who is the goaltending coach for the Leafs. Mm-hmm. He apparently behind the scenes was like to Sheldon Keefe, don't you dare pull him. Don't you dare pull him. You put him in for the third. And
Why?
Because he wanted Samsonov to have the chance to finish the game because it's a confidence thing. Guys, listen, like Sammy has been dealing with an illness. We know that. He might have been one of the first guys to get it because he was off for a couple of days before sort of everybody else.
Week, yeah.
But the struggles that Ilya Samsonov has had this year it's not like a regression of talent. He hasn't gotten worse. Goaltending is a mental position,
He
and it's
out-dueled Vasilevsky in a playoff series
it's a confidence thing.
less than a year ago.
And so what they're trying to do right now is build up his confidence. And that's why Curtis Sanford was like, hey, keep him in there. And I think if you're him, you got to feel really good about how the third period went. And for Sammy, why not? He shut the door when they
I don't
needed him
think
to.
he's thinking that way right now. And that's why. So some people thought it was stupid that Samsonov didn't talk to the media after the game.
Oh, no, he shouldn't be.
No,
He's
I
not
don't.
there yet.
I don't think he should be. Well, because, like, it's one thing if you haven't heard it all before. Mm-hmm. I don't need to hear it from him. Mm-hmm. He's got the Jack Campbell big time in the worst way, where Jack would get in front of a mic and, like, win or lose, when he wasn't doing his Gosh G. Willikers bit, he was talking about how bad of a goalie he is.
Jack Campbell is literally Eeyore.
Yeah.
Like when he talks to the media. It's not great.
Like, and it got to the point where I was like, Jack, like, fuck, can you not, like...
Even when they won, he would be, like, ridiculous. And it's like, Jack, chill out.
Yeah, and Ilya is the same way if you pay attention. And he does it with some humor because his English is limited. Like, what did you want him to say after that he hasn't already said?
Yeah. And I think you're look for the Leafs to try to protect this guy because you should believe in Ilya Samsonov's talent. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We saw it in Washington, and then we saw what happened when his confidence was shaken in Washington. It was so bad that they didn't even tender him because they wanted to bring in Darcy Kemper.
Yeah.
And then the Leafs really benefited from that last year. He was spectacular last year.
$1.8 million last year.
And frankly, this year, it's not been up to snuff, but I do think this is a confidence thing. People this is the thing with NHL goalies, especially. It's like, what do you think happened? You think they just got bad all of a sudden?
You think they forgot how to play hockey?
Yeah, no. It's all in your noggin. So I feel like he's got some time to figure it out. It's only mid-December. You can figure it out.
I gave it to Merzlikins yesterday, but like he's a 909 on the season on Columbus. So he's an above league average goalie on one of the worst teams in the league. Like, that's pretty good. He didn't forget how to play hockey. He was just going through it. I know Curtis Sanford and actually underratedly Nick Antropov behind the scenes are working on Samsonov in the lab. But, I mean, Joseph Wool's out. This is your time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do wonder if the Leafs will start Martin Jones on Saturday against Pittsburgh.
Yep. They got to.
I think they should too, because the thing is that, like, obviously the Dubas thing is a media thing, but I'm sure the players are aware of it. But more important to the players are Sidney Crosby and Geno Malkin, and they are far better than the Columbus Shooters. Far better. Those two guys alone would be 1 and 2 on that. And I love Line A, and he did score, and he did have that injury, but those two guys are probably two better players than Columbus has. So I feel like. Listen, Martin Jones isn't... I was never thinking that, man, I'm in a position that I really want Martin Jones to start. But he seems to have a level head about him. And I feel like on the big stage, Hockey Night in Canada, maybe you don't start Ilya.
It's that real Slovakian mentality that Martin Jones has.
Finish Martin Jones.
I forgot about
By the way,
that.
there were a couple people that were like, I thought the same thing, Adam. You're not crazy. I just thought you admitted
that's
it.
so strange.
Yeah,
Okay, why does that happen?
I don't know.
Anyway.
So I'm looking at it right now. Before the Christmas break, there isn't another back-to-back. They have Pittsburgh at home, 2 days off, Rangers, Sabres, and then Blue Jackets again before the Christmas break. No, you have to start Samsonov on Saturday. You're paying him $3.5 million.
No, I don't think you need to do
You
that.
left him in the game so that he could fight through it, and then he's not going to play Pittsburgh, and then it's going to be another 2 days off before. No. Like, you're a goalie on the Leafs. Every game is on the big stage. Forget Saturday night. Forget all of that. You're on the big stage as long as you have that leaf on your chest, and you can wear it as a talisman or an anchor. Mm-hmm. I think if he is unplayable in this game against Pittsburgh, then you look at Martin Jones for the next game. He has to play Saturday.
Okay.
I Vietnamese
I also Vietnamesely disagree.
disagree.
Vehemently.
Vehement.
Vietnamese disagree.
Something I was talking about.
Jesse.
I called Steve at the beginning of this, or at the end of the second period, because I just wanted to know what he thought. And Jesse, we were talking about some stuff, and Steve always mentions what about Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and Nylander and like the contracts. What is it for the players? The contracts that Steve always says. When you make that kind of money, you can't have
A night off.
That's right.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that happened during this game is after the second period, the Leafs got booed.
Oh, yeah.
They were booed by their fans.
That's happened quite a bit this season. Actually.
It has, because the fans' expectations are high. But the other thing I was thinking about is, okay, those guys are making all that money, and they can't have a night off. I think the Leafs can't have a night off because of the amount of money that goes into buying a ticket. Like, fans, you wonder why fans are so quiet when they show up, because it's like, this is my first game in several years, and it'll be my last game for several years, because it's half of a rent payment to go. And if they don't win, I'm going to be really fucking sour about it.
Dude, that remember my wife got me Blue Jays playoff tickets that year, and you played the prank on me?
Yes.
Yeah, on the pod. I look back on that game with fondness because they won.
But imagine they
If
lost.
they had lost, the bit would have been, I was right, you dicks, and now we're out $600.
So
because they lost.
My crazy fan theory is, it's $600 to get two seats at a Leafs game. I think that the part of the reason that people are so anxious and on edge there all the time is because they're not going to be back. It's not like, oh, it's a Tuesday. I'll come back in a month and it'll be different.
A ton of people at that game yesterday. Take it from someone who, this is how I grew up. A ton of the people in that building yesterday did not pay.
Oh, yeah, because it's the season tickets I'm going to give these away game.
Yeah. Oh, it's a Thursday against Columbus. Here you go. I'm not taking a client to Thursday night against Columbus.
Yeah.
There you go. They're giving that away. But the free Leaf ticket is the rarest one. Right? It's this very expensive thing. And if you haven't been to a Leaf game, like a bunch of people that were at that game yesterday haven't been to a Leaf game since COVID, basically. And you finally show up and it's that. Do you care that they're 9-1-3 in their last 13 if you've paid to be in that building?
I don't think you do.
Like, you pay with your time or with your money. And usually both. Even if the ticket is free, you got to eat. You got to, you got to drink. Even if it's not a beer, the water's like $5. You got to park. It's an investment of your entire friggin' night, and you're borrowing a little bit against the next day as well, because you're going to get home late. When do you get up for work in the morning? And this is the performance. What the fuck, man? I understand fans booing.
I got tickets to the Raptors. I got free tickets to the Raptors on Wednesday. So Natalie and I went, and you're just talking about concessions prices, right?
Yeah, I don't even know.
So I went to the Tim Hortons midway through, because you know me, I like a late coffee. So I went to the Tim Hortons, grabbed a coffee.
Three late coffees.
Yeah, I had end of the basically after the second quarter, grab my coffee. It's $2.30, and they ask you for a tip, and then you know what the staff deserves. And then I walk to the next booth where they make, I think, Vietnamese subs, which looked delicious, by the way. And all I needed for Natalie was a Diet Coke, because she is a one Diet Coke a day person, for better or for worse. And I said, I will get you a Diet Coke. How much did the Diet Coke cost? Remember, it's fizzy water and sugar.
$6.50.
$4.
Jesse's closest, and he's still down by 2.
What?
It was $8.30 for the Diet Coke.
God.
My coffee, Diet Coke, basically the same size. Yeah. And so I understand why fans feel that way. I really do. I get it, because it's like, this is a crazy amount of money I'm spending. You better win.
To the Leafs' credit, they've shown up the majority of times this year. Like, they laid one egg all year, and that was the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah,
everything else has been good.
Was that in Toronto or?
Yeah, I was there for that game.
Oh, that's why you know it.
Yeah,
How'd
that's
that
why
feel,
I know
Jess?
it. It was awful. But like to their credit, they show up most of the time, even when down 5-0.
Even
they
that game-
showed up.
Even that game that you're talking about, they didn't get like blown out of the water until the end.
And by that third period was awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But this one, I mean, you're like, do I just go home?
Yeah.
I want to know who went home.
You could see it in the crowd. You could see it in the crowd. People walking
people went
out.
home.
People left. And like the Leafs have lost back-to-back times in regulation twice this entire season so far.
That's crazy.
Wow.
They're having a great
If they have a stinker and like they don't have stinkers, they show up the next night.
Yeah. That's why I gave them a mulligan in the LFR. But like, if you attended that in person, boo. Go ahead, boo.
Yeah, no, but by the end you're not booing.
No, you're not.
By the end,
what a magical game I saw.
tearing your hair out saying, I went to this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I give them full credit for coming back.
Sometimes
Sorry.
they're not showing up. They're just a little late. That's the thing about the Leafs. They always show up. They're just sometimes a little late.
Yeah.
With regard to the comeback, from first of all, I was sent this from someone named Charlie Coyle Enthusiast on Twitter, and they said, you don't know me, but this would be a very interesting SDPN stat to discuss. And I thought that was a really weird way to introduce a tweet. Mm-hmm. Hi, you don't know me, but you didn't need to say that.
What's the tweet?
You're still my pal. Anyway, from Hockey Reference, Thursday was the third time in NHL history, regular season and playoffs, that a team forced overtime when trailing by 5 or more after 2 periods. There was 1982, April 10th, Edmonton versus LA.
Of course.
There was 1987, January 26th, Calgary versus Toronto. And there was 2023, yesterday, Leafs, Blue Jackets.
And no team has ever come back and won it. The Leafs were that close.
See, I could have swore the Leafs were down 5-0 to the St. Louis Blues and lost in like 2000.
That was, I think they were, I think that was an 06 comeback. Like, I think they were down, the Leafs were up 6.
No.
Weren't they?
I'd have to look it
I
up.
remember
because
that was
isn't
great
the stat
stat.
like five or more.
Oh, yeah, but the Leafs were only 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could
No,
have sworn.
like that stat wouldn't be true about them coming back from a 6-goal game.
I don't know.
Never happened.
I don't know. But I do remember it was grade 7.
Did you just read it and said it's never happened?
That's what the thing said.
Yeah. So I don't think that 6-goal comeback happened.
I think Hockey Reference might be wrong.
You think so?
I would trust the website more than your memory.
No, I wouldn't. Look it up. Look up Leafs Blues 5-0 comeback. Literally just Google that. I got grounded for this game because I yelled really loud. I woke my parents up.
Rallied from a 5-0 deficit to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 22 years ago.
So then what did you just read?
Hockey
Wrong
Reference.
stat, apparently.
November 29th, 2000.
So read what you told us.
Thursday was the third time in NHL history, regular season and playoffs, that a team forced overtime when trailing by 5 or more after 2 periods.
Yeah, but the St. Louis
after
Blues
2
is after 2
periods.
periods.
Okay.
I'm glad we spent so much time on that.
Me too.
Can we move on? Hey, Jesse,
Yeah.
what have you been doing on BetMGM this year?
When the Leafs get down, I like to take them plus goals. So my specialty is plus 2.5 goals, but I also dabble a little in plus 1.5 goals.
What did you do yesterday?
Plus 2.5 goals, which was a crazy payout because the Leafs were down 5-0. And if you bet the Leafs at any point plus 2.5 goals, they've only lost 3 games this entire season by 2 or more than 2 goals.
Wow.
So by 3 or more. So the hit rate this year has been really good. But it's only if they get down you like to get the good odds on that.
You don't want them to be down.
You don't want them to be down, but
Well, they are.
there's a way to profit off of it.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you want to get in on it, it's betmgm.com/dangle. betmgm.com/dangle. Download the app today and find out why BetMGM is not only an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League in Canada, they're also the king of sportsbooks. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 19 years of age or older to wager. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you have any questions or concerns about your gambling or someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario.
He did it.
I got a question for you.
What's that?
Are you looking out for your cheeks?
Always.
No, I mean the down there cheeks. The butt cheeks.
I knew what you meant.
Okay, good. Listen, SeatGeek is a way that you can make sure that your butt hits the right seats and you are at the right events. Okay? SeatGeek, 28 million downloads. It's the #1 rated ticketing app in the world. 70,000 events with SeatGeek every single day, including sports, concerts, festivals. Jesse,
I want tickets to a Chiefs game so I can go see the Taylor Swift show.
you can do that. You can do that. You could also see the Chiefs get robbed in the last minute, by the way.
All right,
that was a
Patrick
BS
Mahomes.
call.
Calm
BS
down.
call.
Whoa.
Adam
BS call. We all know
Mahomes.
Easy, Patty.
Refs usually back them off when they're on the line of scrimmage, but he
Adam
didn't do it that
Mahomes.
time.
All right.
All right. Yeah, listen, with the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, all in full swing, SeatGeek has your tickets to every single game, plus artists that are on tour right now, like Taylor Swift.
Oh!
Travis Scott. And also each ticket is rated on a scale of like 1 to 10. So if you look for the green dots, green means good, red means bad. Every ticket is backed by the buyer guarantee too. So SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps, which is really, really good. And listen, we wanted to come through for you guys. Use our code SDP. You're going to get $20 off your tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with the promo code SDP. Make sure you click the link in the description in order to download the app.
High five.
So
Do the backhand.
I want to give the Calgary Flames a little bit of credit here for doing what every team does and should do, which is create interest in my player by involving the Toronto Maple Leafs in a leak source.
Dude,
They do it all the time. Everybody does this. And because Toronto Maple Leafs in the headline, you know the insider's going to print that shit.
Toronto is the source of inflation in professional sports.
Absolutely. Now, Pierre LeBrun, and I don't blame him for this. I think you totally do this. Obviously, the Leafs have been attached to the Chris Tanev deal since the beginning. Treliving loves him. He's a local guy. Now, the Flames are saying that they're in no rush, right?
Yeah.
But we now know that, and Pierre LeBrun let this slip, that their price for Chris Tanev right now is a second-round pick. But then they're saying they're in no rush. And they're hoping...
Yeah, because he's hurt.
No, that...
Yes, Ed?
I'm trying to complete the story.
Go ahead.
Because I have a point to make here. I have a question to ask you both. Okay.
Is it that their owner is a dork?
No, it's not about that.
Oh.
Steve's not going to let this
No,
story
he's not going to let it happen.
No?
So we find out this week that the second round pick will get you Chris Tanev. Okay? That's great. The Leafs are internally confident, we know this, that they can sign him. That's great. Okay. Because his contract's up at the end of the year. Now, the Flames are out there going, we're not in a rush, even though they could not have kicked Nikita Zadorov out the door faster. And Flames fans did not receive that trade well, which is why I think they're going, we might even re-sign him. No, you won't. Craig, we know. And
What are you going to
Steve,
do? Compete? Fart?
And Steve, you said, and you nailed it, Chris Tanev got hurt this week.
Yep.
And my question to you guys is, first off, I understand why the Flames are putting this out there. Here's our asking price. Please report it so everybody knows, and we want to see if we can get somebody to give me a first-round pick out of this. That makes complete sense to me. That's the Flames trying to inflate the market, and frankly, they should. That's what I would do.
Sure.
I'm wondering if Craig Conroy is getting rookied pretty hard this year, and I'm wondering if he's wishing that he hadn't have pulled the trigger on the Zadorov deal as fast as he did. And the reason I say that is you had two teams that were in on it. The Leafs wanted both players. We couldn't agree on retention. Who knows the reasons why for that. But now that Zadorov is traded, the market has to have cooled because the Leafs wanted both of those guys. Now if the Leafs want to overhaul their defense, they got to go to two different teams to do it. So I wonder if the offer for Tanev and Zadorov as a package is better than Tanev on his own. Yes, it is. But I also wonder if it's sort of like, now he's hurt. So how hurt is he? Is he going to be a nagging injury the rest of the year? Am I going to be dealing with this in the playoffs where he's got to sit out game 5 because because he's got a hurt shoulder or whatever he's got? I think Craig Conroy, and it's not just because I'm a Leaf fan, I think Craig Conroy has got to stop pretending like we don't know.
Well, also,
Like, we know.
who could have possibly predicted this would happen?
What, Chris Tanev getting injured?
Yeah.
At 34?
Dude,
with a
so-
long injury history?
So the Canada division season, he had a perfect season of 56 games. Then the next season with Calgary, he had a perfect 82 games. That was great. Here's the rest of his career, going all the way back to the Canucks. 29 games, 25 games, 38 games, 64 games, 70 games, 69 games, 53 games, 42 games, 55 games, 69 games. That's heading into the pandemic, so that's basically a full season. I will give him that. Then the 2 perfect seasons, followed by 65 last year and this season. Who could have possibly... If there is a guy you kick out the door as fast as possible because you know you're losing him, it's this guy. Like, I want the Leafs to get him because he's a good defenseman when he's playing. And I would have accepted, yeah, you go out and get Chris Tanev. That's the risk you assume.
I think the reason the Leafs wanted both is because they knew Tanev was prone to this.
That's part of it. I think they like both players. I think that's why they wanted it. But now you're stuck. You're either selling winning or you're selling hope. And when you commit to selling hope, which is what you were doing when you traded Zadorov, part of selling hope is getting assets for your players who you know aren't sticking around. Or I guess you're selling your fan base snake oil instead of hope. Oh yeah, we're going to re-sign him. Fuck off.
Well, and this is the question I have for the Flames is like, okay, how much more do you need to see, Flames fans? How much more do you need to see from this team? You know, I feel bad for Jonathan Huberdeau, but he's still not playing to where he needs to be. This team, for whatever reason, has talent, and it just doesn't work. Whenever time you watch your team, and then watch the Calgary Flames. What are you going to notice about the Calgary Flames? The Calgary Flames are not a very good hockey team for whatever reason. They're just not.
I thought they'd be better than this.
They should be better than this, but they're not. So we got to change some things up. Nobody wants to re-sign here because everybody knows this isn't a great team. Hanifin doesn't want to re-sign. Tanev doesn't want to re-sign. You want your first round pick. I totally understand that. But don't think, like, what's blowing my mind about the way they're running this is they were hot and on the trail to trade Chris Tanev 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Oh, now we'll re-sign him. I don't think people are stupid. And I know NHL head offices act stupid sometimes, but I think people understand where this is at and they understand who this player is and what age they're at. And like Hanifin, yeah, get your first round pick. I don't know, man. To me, with guys like Tanev and Zadorov, take the money and run. Just get out of this. And the Flames wouldn't retain. That's all it would have taken to get into the Leafs. Anyway,
my thing with this is the Leafs got to move on. Because we all know Brad Treliving wants Chris Tanev, and it's just a bad idea at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he's a 34-year-old guy who can't stay healthy, and you're going to give him a contract extension before he plays one game with you. It makes no sense for the Leafs to go after this player right now. And I don't trust Brad Treliving because the 2 biggest moves he's made so far, signing John Klingberg and then signing Ryan Reeves, are both bad moves. So you're going to go let this guy make another move for a guy he liked when he was at his old job where he failed, by the way. The Calgary Flames are in this situation right now about how bad they are. You're just outlining it. This team sucks. The guy who built that wants to go acquire one of these players for the Leafs.
Yeah.
He can't. Don't allow him to do this, Brendan Shanahan.
There's a good chance Chris Tanev's next contract sucks, no matter where it is, even if it's here. That's not the most pressing thing with the Calgary Flames. Like, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now on their Hockey DB page. All right. Who leads them in scoring? It's Nazem Kadri. Who's second in scoring? It's Blake Coleman. Who's third in scoring? It's Elias Lindholm. Who's fourth in scoring? It's Yegor Sharangovich. Who's fifth in scoring? Mackenzie Weegar. Who's sixth in scoring? Rasmus Anderson. Who's seventh in scoring? Connor Zary. Who's eighth in scoring? Andrew Mangiapane. Who's ninth in scoring? Michael Backlund. Who's 10th in scoring? Noah Hanifin. I haven't said Jonathan Huberdeau's name yet. He's played 30 games. They like priority number 1, 2, and 3. Fuck selling wins. Fuck selling hope. Fix this player. You have no chance of selling either if you don't fix this player. You're not going to win. There's no reason to hope. You have to fix this player. Beginning, middle, end. That's it. That's Craig Conroy's entire mission in life. Fuck trading these guys. Fuck all of that. Every single move the Calgary Flames make needs to be into parlaying that contract into something moderately successful.
And to be honest, like it just didn't. They didn't have a very good coach to start him with, right? Like it just started on a bad foot and has remained so.
Well, and now the spilled milk is all over the floor.
Yeah.
And what are we going to do? Cry about it or clean it up?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is a guy who scored 115 points like 5 minutes ago. You're selling wins or you're selling hope. They can't sell either until they fix that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Connor Zary has played 10 fewer games. He has the same amount of points and more goals. That's crazy. And like, that's hope. Great. That's actually a good thing. But like, holy fuck, you got to fix that player.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of rookie GM showing. Hey, Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton named to the Canadian World Junior roster for this Christmas, which is awesome.
Hooray!
Good for them. We weren't sure. Minton was a shoo-in, but Cowan, there was a lot of debate going back and forth. But he is going to be there. They weren't impressed with his camp, apparently. They need more from him. That was what they were saying. So they're challenging the player. But I think that's great. No Toronto Maple Leaf prospect has represented Canada since Ian Scott in 2018.
Wow.
Been a while.
Man. I feel bad for Ian Scott. And this is the first time, I think, since 2016 they've had two. Mm-hmm. Marner and Dermott, I believe. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I mean, there's always Leaf prospects at the World Juniors. For some reason, they're never on Team Canada. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to have two.
Now, we're going to talk about a few different things. A lot has fallen by the wayside here. But we're going to hit the Wild and we're going to hit the Blues. Let's start with the Minnesota Wild. Their AGM, Chris O'Hearn, and the team just mutually parted ways. What's crazy about this is Chris O'Hearn just negotiated an extension with the Wild. Now, he and Bill Guerin, and we didn't know this until Michael Russo put out his article with The Athletic, both of them were under investigation for separate things. We now know that Bill Guerin was under investigation for verbal abuse, something that, from what we have heard, he will be able to continue working as Wild GM. But Chris O'Hearn is not. And that's just about all we know. And even the CJ show yesterday, when Chris is kind of telling us, it's like, it seems like this is a buzzy thing within the industry, but no one seems to be able to say what the buzz is.
Well, I was getting texts about it too. That's why I'm going through my phone right now. And I know everyone thinks all I talk about is whispers, but like, I do have some legit NHL sources. I'm not confident enough to say exactly what is going on. I mean, it's obviously serious. I think when the full story is out there, there's a really good chance Dean Evison is somehow involved. Obviously, he's no longer the coach. And there's a player on the team, I don't really want to say, but they're a significant part of the Minnesota Wild. I think they're involved as well. I think there's a lot of upheaval going on with that team.
I think it's important when you specify that these are hockey-related things more than anything.
Yeah,
this is not. When people say in here investigation, they rightly think the worst. That's not what you're suggesting.
No, but remember, there's more than one investigation going on. Right? So I'm telling you what I've heard. What I've heard is hockey-related, but it sure sounds like there's non-hockey-related things going on as well.
Yeah. So, interesting. I don't know what to say beyond that. It's other than, are we ever going to find out? And usually you don't. Fully.
I mean...
Not reported anyway.
Their team... Is there a more important position in a front office right now than Minnesota Wild capologist?
Well, I mean, and that was his job, Chris O'Hearn's job. Apparently, it's put the front office for the Wild like in total flux. Like they don't have a lot of people in it already.
They committed to having like $14 million in dead cap, and then they fired the guy in charge of managing their cap. That feels like not a winning strategy.
Yeah.
or not
Yeah.
fired. Like, that's another thing I'm confused about.
It was a mutual parting of ways.
So what is happening there? Like, I think the reason it's so buzzy is so many people have heard 10 to 25% of the story, and they're all texting each other trying to figure out and connect the dots and the pieces. And that's why I'm not telling you everything that I've heard, because I'm like, I don't know.
Well, of course, yeah, you have to source a problem.
And the two incidences, the Guerin investigation and the O'Hearn one, they're completely separate.
Yes.
Based on all the reporting, they're two different issues. And the Guerin one isn't hockey related. It sounds like that one's the off ice issue.
Yeah, and that one we know was verbal abuse.
Workplace
in the
conduct.
workplace. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other stuff is hockey related, from what we understand.
There's a shocking clip out there that every now and then some podcast brings up, and it gets a little bump on the YouTube video.
Oh, you mean Bill Guerin smacking a guy in the head at training camp?
And most recently,
Dallas?
so apparently Spit and Chicklets brought it up like a year ago, because they saw the comments were like, oh, Chicklets bump. Go look up Bill Guerin versus Brett Draney, Draney. It was at, I think, Dallas Stars training camp. Draney was a 6th round pick of the Stars. And him and Guerin sort of get in each other's face. Guerin slashes him right at like the base of his head, like head/neck. And George Peros was like, that guy should captain the Rangers. But it was a really nasty hit. And then he cross-checks the guy when he's down. It's one of the most brutal chicken shit things I've ever seen on the ice. So every time I see Bill Guerin, I'm reminded of that clip, because it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen to come out of a practice, and I'm pretty sure he didn't get shit all for it.
No, he didn't. I remember that too, and I remember seeing it on the news, and at, I don't know, we would have been like 10 or 11 at that point.
We were pretty young.
I remember thinking, why is this not a bigger deal? Why is this not a bigger deal? This feels like a suspension. I remember thinking at that point.
I mean, I was making fun of Trouba, but the thing with Trouba was there was some plausible deniability. Like, oh, I was falling or whatever. This is Bill Guerin standing in front of a guy, staring at him, and just slashing the shit out of his head and neck. And if he had done that in an NHL game, he would have been gone for double-digit games. Mm-hmm. But he did it in training camp to someone no one's ever heard of, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know that's not related, but fuck him for that.
Yeah. I remember that. It was a chicken shit play, and yeah. I want to move on, unless Jesse, you have something you want to add to this, buddy.
No, I think there's just not a lot of info there. Right?
Yeah, there isn't. And this was back when there was no social media, so there was no way for those clips to go viral unless it was on like E-Bombs World or GeoCities.
It was on TV.
Jesse.
Yes.
I've sent you a clip, and you did a podcast about this. Now, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of background here. Craig Berube was fired in St. Louis earlier this week. Drew Bannister has taken over, and he might not even be the coach till the end of the year. He's just a guy who's there right now. But Jordan Kyrou was asked about his relationship with Craig Berube before the game at some point, either a couple nights ago or yesterday morning, and he said, somebody said, "What was your relationship with Berube?" And he said, "He's not my coach anymore, so I'm not going to answer that." And I was really surprised about this.
Yeah.
During the game last night, he gets booed, and this is his reaction afterwards.
Booed while they were winning.
What, if anything, would you want to say to the fans?
I mean, just, sorry if it sounded in a bad way at all. I mean, just like I said, I'm just really trying to focus on the future here and focus on what I can do to, help our team win and, help get wins for the boys. So.
How were you able to focus then tonight? And you feel like you had it?
It's definitely the toughest game I've probably played, to be honest. But
any of your teammates or anybody from the organization talk to you about it?
Obviously my teammates had my back, right? So
you're getting pretty emotional here. Where are the emotions coming from?
It's just tough, right? Like, I love playing here, so it's tough to hear the fans booing me there. Sorry.
Jordan, they'll obviously come around. They know you want to be here, and play hard, and produce for them. Do you feel like, it's just a bump in the road that it can be overcome and they'll love you again?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I just want to focus on my future and focus on, trying to be a more complete player and, what I can do to help the team win, right? So, that's just my goal right now.
Jordan Kyrou is an unbelievably talented NHL player. I always tweet that he's a menace because he is a menace on the ice.
Struggling a little.
Yeah. And obviously Blues fans will love Craig Berube because he brought them their first cup. Jesse, what was your take on this on the Jesse Blake Sports Report last night?
There's so many layers to it because the comments initially, I think they weren't intended to be taken the way that the Blues fans took the comments.
Is there footage of it?
The comments, no. So the comments are Jeremy Rutherford's tweet. He tweeted that Kyrou on his relationship with Berube. I've got no comment. He's not my coach anymore. And before that, he went on to talk about Bannister becoming head coach. And Kyrou said this. He said, yeah, it kind of feels like a little bit of a fresh start kind of thing. Yeah, we're all excited here. We want to turn the ship around right now and get our culture back a little bit and get back to how we know how to play hockey. And it's not been whispered about, but it's been discussed a little about how they didn't have the best relationship, Berube and Kyrou, and the fans are a little disappointed in Kyrou's performance lately, and they love Berube because he brought them their first Stanley Cup in history. So the fans see that he's not trashing the coach on the way out, but he has a no comment, which I don't know. I thought that was fair to say no comment if they didn't have a good relationship. So he goes out there and they boo him as he's getting introduced. And obviously he didn't intend for the fans to think that he's disrespecting the crest on the front in any way or the coach that they love so much. So I think it was a little unfair on the fans to do that, but I understand where they're coming from. And I think it's got to be like, even now, like your relationship with Jordan Kyrou can't be like you hate this dude. Like he clearly cares so much about the Blues.
I'm fascinated by what the next game is because, like, I almost feel like Blues fans are going to be fighting amongst each other. Like it's going to be boos versus cheers.
I think after that post-game clip that we just showed, I don't know how anybody boos him or still feels that way or thinks that his comments were disrespect.
Well, like. The only quote I can think of that compares to his initial one, where I'm not going to comment on that, dude. Tyler Bertuzzi earlier this year, when he was asked about laughing on the bench during that whole Bruins thing, he's just like, I'm not going to answer for that, or I'm not going to explain myself. And I was just like, God, what a dick! Like that one really rubbed me the wrong way. I certainly didn't expect anyone to boo him the next time they got on the ice. Like I was surprised by the quote. But I was even more surprised by the reaction to it. Like, that wasn't a couple people. And they were winning. They were booing him every time he touched the puck on a power play in a game his team was winning.
Now, here's a guy.
That really struck a nerve.
This guy has had back-to-back basically 75-point years. He had an almost 40-goal season last year. Now, he's only got 5 in the first 30 or 29 this year, so it's not great. It's not going well, but honestly, nothing is going well in St. Louis at the moment. And I don't think Craig Berube getting fired really has anything to do with Jordan Kyrou. It has everything to do with the team that Doug Armstrong has constructed, and he has swung and missed on some major things. Letting Ville Husso go, letting Alex Pietrangelo go. Those are major things that you see what Pietrangelo has done with the Vegas Golden Knights. You cannot just replace him, and they should have absolutely held on to him at all costs.
Underratedly, Justin Falk.
Oh, yeah.
When they got him and signed him to all that money, I was like, all right, well, Petro's gone. Like, I
thought the same with Torrey Krug, by the way.
I know a lot of people put that on Torrey Krug, but if I'm not mistaken, Falk was first.
Okay, well, fair enough.
When I saw that, I was like looking at their.
Isn't Marco Scandella making weird amounts of money there too, or was? And
there's a lot of weird things about that team.
Yeah,
they're a collection of guys where I'm like, okay, like there's not a ton of guys on that team where I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's bad.
It's kind of like the Flames.
A little bit, yeah. Where there's not many parts of the Blues where I go, he shouldn't be in the NHL.
I don't
playing too hard.
Yeah,
I don't think the Blues head office or front office, correctly evaluated who was driving play on this team.
Yeah, if you're going with the guys that they lost, like the game that Berube got fired for, losing in Detroit, and that was their 4th straight loss, Robbie Fabry scores and Jake Wallman scores, 2 ex-Blues.
Oh, I didn't know Wallman was an ex-Blue.
Yeah, so
Fabry I knew.
So those 2 guys score and your coach gets fired, and Ville Husso picks up the win.
Oh,
and David Perron's there too, but he was obviously suspended. But right there, you're like, okay, Armstrong built this team that's not really successful right now. And we're talking about the Blues and their struggles this year. It's more apparent than what the standings say, because if you look at the standings right now, the St. Louis Blues are in a playoff spot.
No way.
They're in the second wild card spot
Amazing.
in the West.
Oh, because they won and the Oilers lost.
They're
think.
but on the ice, when you look at their compete level and the amount of opportunities that they're allowing the other teams to have, they're not having a good season. But like in the standings, they're okay. And I don't think anybody has confidence in the team that Armstrong has built right now in their performance.
Yeah, so you boo Kyrou?
I'd also, and
Because your
that's
coach
the
got
weird part for
fired.
me is the Kyrou booing. I think that's more of a product of frustration that fans have with the team, which I think is right.
Yeah.
But Jordan Kyrou, also, let me just say this, and this will be unpopular with Blues fans because it got boos anyway. If you're a head coach and one of your best players is not going and you can't get him going, you shouldn't be the head coach anymore. Like part of being
Just
the
because
head
you won a cup there doesn't mean you should still be the coach.
100%. And Friedge said it in 32 Thoughts, and I tend to agree with it. Usually you got about 5 years in the NHL. Some in football sometimes you get like 10.
Mm-hmm.
But in hockey you get 3 to 5 years, and then people start tuning you out. And I
5
think
years is a long time.
very long. And
lot of coaches.
and that's not to take away from Craig Berube, but what is a coach's job other than to set the best players on the team up for success? And if you're not doing that, you can't expect to win much, and you can't expect, therefore, to be head coach very long. And that is where, like, the Blues need Jordan Kyrou to be good more than they need to keep Craig Berube.
Yeah.
Especially
And
with,
Robert Thomas and all the future of the team.
especially with the way he's built the team, and that they're not rebuilding. They are going for it, and he believes that they should be. So he can't have these the coach holding them back. And one direct comparison that I think is it aligns perfectly with the one that's happening in St. Louis that's very familiar to us in this market is Nick Nurse.
Yep.
Who won the
Oh, yeah.
title the exact same year as Craig Berube. And by last season, that team was sick of him.
Yeah.
And if you ask them about Nick Nurse today, they don't have nice things to say about Nick Nurse, but we're not also going out and booing Scotty Barnes because his relationship with Nick Nurse wasn't that great. We're saying, no, his time expired here and it was time to go. But I don't know if Blues fans feel the same way about Berube and that his time expired.
No, they
in St.
definitely
Louis.
don't.
They don't.
Yeah. Obviously.
But Nick Nurse, he won a title, but that doesn't mean he gets to be coach emeritus for life of the Toronto Raptors.
I guess I just feel like I must be missing something.
I feel like it too. I'm looking at. I wonder if there's going to be a bunch of Blues fans going, "You don't know shit," and you don't have to say that.
Well,
by the
yeah.
way. You could just say it's okay that you don't know every detail of all 32 teams all at once because nobody does. There's people that put up smoke screens like they do, but they fucking don't.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something we're missing, message us. But you don't have to hate my family because of it. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing that out there.
But it's the problems with the Blues are roster construction.
Yes, they are
It's
Doug
so-
Armstrong.
So it's hard for Blues fans to back the move when the guy they want gone is the one who made that move. I understand that from Blues fans 100%.
They were winning. I keep going back to they were winning. And they won the game.
Yeah, they won 4-2
How many
last
times have
night.
you seen a player cry because they were booed after a game his team won?
Never. I've never seen. That's why this
Across
is,
professional sports.
Yeah.
this is such a crazy story, and that clip is wild because I've never seen anything like that.
I really feel for him. That was, fans are going to be fans. I'm never going to tell you not to be a fan because you should be a fan, and being a fan is great. Fans make mistakes sometimes. I think that was a mistake.
It just felt like the punishment didn't match the crime.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a boo for front office. I don't think that was a boo for Jordan Kyrou. That's my thought on it.
One interesting wrinkle I saw out there amongst Blues fans was how much does the media deserve the blame here for their reaction to the quote? Because the media may have sensationalized the Jeremy Rutherford tweet, and it becomes a graphic on Bar Down and Sportsnet talking about it. So it seems a lot bigger.
You're right.
Than the
We
no
were the only
comment
ones
was.
talking about it. No fans would ever talk about it.
reads-
No fans would ever have taken that tweet and go, "Hey, have you seen this?"
No,
shit?
wait a minute.
Stop.
It reads harsh. The tweet reads harsh. That's why, what was the first thing I asked you? Is there video?
There's not.
Is there audio even? Surely there's audio somewhere.
I-
I want to hear his voice say it.
I haven't heard it.
And I mean, we're not going to after that reaction. I think it's important and relevant to the story. Now, had that been true, had the media taken it out of context, or if it was part of a larger quote that would have dulled the impact of those words, I would like to think that Jordan Kyrou would have defended himself, or someone would have come out and been like, hey, that's not an accurate representation of what was said.
And I don't think that's what they're saying. Also, I don't think it reads that harsh. He just said no fucking comment. Like, are we kidding?
Harsh.
So he didn't have a good relationship with his coach, and that's a story. It is a story.
Adam, if
if
our show...
he didn't say he was a bad guy. He didn't say he lit my house on fire.
Yeah, but if our show broke up like the Beatles,
yeah,
and someone was like, what do you think about Adam? It was, oh, no, he's not my co-host anymore.
Yeah, that's...
No. It would read hard.
No,
I know, but
Steve,
the original...
Steve, the way you said it just like that, I'm like, oh.
The original...
Oh,
but the
Steve's
original
right.
point was, did the media make too much of this quote? And my point to you is...
Maybe a little.
I don't think you can. It's a story, guys.
Who's the media?
We are not... I'm sorry, you can't blame the media. You can't say the media are the reason the fans booed. Jordan said it. Jeremy Rutherford, as far as I know, has been above board about everything, is a fantastic reporter.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think this is going around right now, and I think some of this has to do with the Blue Jays. I do. Because... that Ohtani stuff got ridiculous, and then some media tut-tutted the fans, and fans were like, what? This was entirely your fault. Which I think fans were right in that case. But that doesn't mean that fans are never responsible for any of the hysteria. And when you talk about the media, when it comes to things that happen on social media, people accept a little bit of a role in the media. Like, if you have a large following, even if you don't make money from this, but if you have a following of like 1,000 or more, and you retweet this going, oh shit, Jordan Kyrou with the fire, you're playing a bit of a role in this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You're being a fan.
Yeah.
I agree. You know what? I don't think you're wrong.
And to your point, like, the fans dictate the content that gets put out because
they're interested in it, and that drives clicks.
That quote doesn't get quoted if there isn't going to be a whole bunch of engagement on it.
If Jordan Kyrou had said my favorite color is purple, people would have been like, fucking cool, man. That might have got 20 retweets. But because it was a relevant, pertinent detail that hockey fans care about, fair. The fans drive what is going to be reported on.
This is why I want there to be video and audio of this so bad, because he's not my coach anymore. I don't want to talk about it. He's not my coach anymore. I don't want to talk about it.
That sounds a lot more like that's what he would say it like.
Do you see the enormous difference between the two?
So?
One of them is, fuck that guy. I don't want to fucking talk about that fucking asshole.
No, but-
and the other one is, guys, do you have to ask me that again?
Yeah, but then you get back to the original question. If it was just that second one where it's not a big deal, then the media did blow it out of proportion. Then the fans are right to be angry at the media for manipulating them into booing.
Right. So that's why I think it was as harsh as it read. Because otherwise, someone somewhere would have come out and been like, he didn't mean it like that.
What if the story was just taking off and you don't want to, what are you going to do, poo-poo the story?
I'm surprised it spread that damn fast.
Yesterday
I am
was
not
crazy.
at all. I am not surprised at all. That is a great quote that will grab people's attention, and I grabbed mine. I was like, really?
It was so big that the quote happens pregame skate, or not morning skate, and it's so big that afternoon all the Blues fans know about it and they're booing by that night.
6-7 hours later.
This was a 12-hour story.
Yeah.
That's how big it was.
Mm-hmm.
But is it the media's fault because the quote actually wasn't that big? I don't know. I don't have an answer.
All Jeremy Rutherford did was go, here's the quote.
Adam's
Started it out there.
I guess Jeremy Rutherford is like a really good reporter, and it's like Jeremy Rutherford said that Jordan Kyrou hates Craig Berube. Like, we're making it sound like that's what it was. What we do is we consume it and we go, what can I deduce from this? They probably didn't have a great relationship.
I would be on the side of, the media sensationalized it. If anyone had come out and said, this is not an accurate representation of what was said. No one said that.
No one has said that.
So I don't know what anyone's talking about then, because it just sounds like he tweeted a thing that was said.
Yeah. And by the way, that's okay. Guys, Show me a room full of 30 people and everybody loves each other. Not even your family at the holidays can say that that's really the case.
There's
Let's
some
be
good
honest.
cult documentaries on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Okay. There's some good cult documentaries on Netflix, but they're also sort of forced to love each other. It's weird.
That's the level you got to get to.
That's right.
To love 30 people in a room.
Cody from
you gotta
Sister Wives doesn't love 75% of his wives.
This is going to shock you, but probably your favorite player on the NHL, on your favorite NHL team, is hated by somebody in his dressing room. Or at least disliked. Not talked to.
I hate how true that is.
Who's your favorite player? Somebody on their team fucking can't stand them sometimes. That happens, guys.
You know how?
And so I feel like it's like this isn't some crazy. Oh my god, a player doesn't like it. A guy doesn't like his boss. Whoa!
Okay,
I've never
so
heard of
back
that
to the
before.
originals.
I wish the media wouldn't report on this.
If it's not a big deal that he hates him, then why was it such a big deal?
It is a big deal. It's normal though. It's a big deal.
That's different.
Because it's a big deal because of the insight it offers. But to say that it's abnormal for a player to dislike a coach, which I don't think many people are saying, I mean, that's pretty normal.
I'm going to get you a t-shirt that says Defender of Big Media.
I'm
Adam
cape
Wilde.
baiting. Am I cape baiting today?
I think
What about me?
You love big media.
Adam, you're going to get some comments.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they're going to say triggered.
Oh, am I?
I think you were
got
very
triggered?
Triggered? Oh man. Oh, what will I do?
I don't know.
I don't know how I'll ever how will I come back from that?
You're also going to get accused of, this is the new one, glazing.
What's glazing?
I think it has to do with, I think it's sexual. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they're going to accuse you of glazing Jeremy Rutherford's tweet.
I am on the side of Jordan Kyrou and Jeremy Rutherford both. I think it was wrong. I think it's wrong that Rutherford would ever be dragged through the mud. I will cape bait for Jeremy Rutherford, and also Jordan Kyrou. He was just like, I'm not going to comment on it.
The more interesting thing is the fans. Where do you guys side on the fans booing?
Oh, I mean, listen, they're frustrated. I don't blame them for booing. I just think they could have booed I wish they could have booed the front office. They can't boo the front office.
The punishment doesn't fit the crime so much that I don't want to tut the fans because I feel like I don't know enough. Mm-hmm. I feel like I must be missing something.
Yeah.
One thing I don't want to ever do is tell fans how to react because they are being a fan is emotional. You see something, you get upset, you do the thing.
Blues fan reaction.
Unless the thing you're doing is like violent, you know. when you cross, there's a certain line you shouldn't cross, but booing.
Yeah, they threw batteries yesterday. Why didn't you mention that part when they threw batteries
at Jordan Kyrou's head?
Who threw batteries?
No,
Who threw batteries?
No,
you were just okay. I was just gonna say this. Are you referencing something that I'd missed?
Threw boxes of macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, like the guy who threw the beer can at the baby at the Rogers Center.
Oh yeah,
during
he
that playoff
intentionally
game.
meant to hit a baby.
You crossed the line.
You know what? I'm mad on Jose Batista's behalf. Let me fucking can this baby in the head.
That's a line cross. Don't throw beers. It's regardless of the baby. Don't throw beers at games.
Don't throw beers. I also love the Texas fans who are like that. This is what Canadians are all about: throwing beers at babies.
Okay.
It was just like,
all right.
I should have never brought that
Rangers
up.
fans.
All right.
Garbage
Anyways,
Rangers fans.
what else we got?
Anyway, yeah, we do have something, and I actually like this. This is exciting. Elliot Friedman shortchanged you this week, by the way.
Son of a gun.
Do you think he's fallen off? I think he's fallen off.
Yo.
He's lost his edge.
Elliot Friedman is over party.
Let's start. Let's start a war with 32 Thoughts.
Yeah.
Two guys who have never been anything but great to us.
Yeah, no. Fuck 'em.
The NHL, he said, when the NHL brought its GMs and coaches together in Chicago before the season, one of the things they were told was media, especially rights holders, and fans were demanding more all-access style programming. As a part of that, it was made very clear that anyone asked to wear a microphone did so. Sometime this week, a note went out indicating that some of these requests were being declined, and this is going to change right away. He said, I bring this up not to wave the media flag, because he did say I work for a rights holder, but because one executive noted to me on Wednesday that this is a real change in attitude in the NHL. It's never been pushed as hard as it is doing now. Things are changing. So meaning, that doesn't mean that there won't be regional blackouts, by the way. Because I read that again and I was like, oh, no, they don't. They still don't understand that. What they're saying is they are going to start asking more of the personalities in this game. to sell the sport.
Good. And by the way, I watch a lot of non-Leaf hockey, despite what some think. You know what I've noticed on almost every other broadcast, like every non-Leaf broadcast? They get to talk to people on the bench during the game.
Coaches and stuff, yeah. The Leafs
When was
don't
the last
allow
time
it.
you saw that?
The Leafs don't allow it.
When was the last time you saw that?
Not during Leafs telecast.
It's the Oilers. I think it was. I think they put Calvin Pickard on a headset.
Nice.
That clip where Rod Brindamore is like, "Oh man, we suck. We should be down 5-0 or whatever."
Yeah.
Everyone was paying attention to the quote, and I'm just sitting there like, "How did he get to talk to the coach during the game?"
I watched.
That's Sheldon Keefe. I barely know what his voice sounds like.
I when I read this thing from Elliott, I thought the team likely to decline most of those was the Leafs.
I don't want to make accusations,
it
but
was. It
I
was.
assume it was the Leafs.
What happened the last time you asked for an interview with the Leafs? The answer is no. The answer is no, and that's okay. Like that's how they've handled their PR from now. But what Frege is saying,
I don't
is
think they enjoyed the Amazon experience at all.
100%. Only 30% of what was shot made it.
If that.
So I think so. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be one of the teams at the forefront that are going to have to be pushed kicking and screaming through we need to open this up door. And I think in the states where the game, you have to sell it against like the NFL and the NBA, where, you know, hockey isn't the premier sport in that market. Yeah. Like Rod Brindamore does have to do that because they got to sell the game.
One of the most successful things NFL does is mic'd up players and Hard Knocks, which is their show where they follow a team and they show like behind the scenes stuff, and they have them all mic'd up because it's a full each HBO show. And that went from a thing that they did in training camp for decades to now a thing that they do in season. They're airing Hard Knocks Miami Dolphins, and every week they have giant TV crews following around the Miami Dolphins, and you get a weekly experience with them. And players every single week are mic'd up on every single NFL field, and they do a fantastic job with their NFL Films arm of their company to air all of these things. It's fantastic programming, and there's a reason they're the best league in the world, the most popular league in North America.
Jesse, Miami's known as a small market. Nobody really cares about the Miami Dolphins.
People love the Miami.
Miami Dolphins they don't have any fans. They really have to sell that to the market. Dan Marino didn't play there for 20 years.
They got three of the biggest personalities in the game, and their head coach Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, and Tua Tagovailoa.
I like Mike McDaniel, by the way, because
still.
he's a Lego guy, isn't he? The head coach
Is what?
He's a Lego guy. He loves playing with Lego. Like
Joseph
does he?
Woll.
Does Joseph Woll like playing with Lego
Yes.
too? Oh, there you go. No, I like this is the thing. Like the NHL pushing back on this is a good thing. This is a good thing. We need to have. It's not like I don't want more post-game interviews. Nobody fucking wants that. I can tell you that people who are reporting on the game post-game don't want that. I want to see a little bit more of these guys' personalities. Sell me the person.
Listen, I'm not saying it's the Leafs. I'm just saying I never see the Leafs do it. That's all I'm saying. Dude, it's December. Why haven't we seen a Ryan Reeves mic'd up bit? Think of what it would do for his popularity. Well, now you can't. But like all we've been talking about with this guy is how bad that contract is outside of the first like 2 games of the season.
Well, they would tell you they've got the blueprint.
What's that?
That's the YouTube series that the Leafs do.
Yeah, that they make and control entirely.
Which they do a good job with.
Yes.
I do enjoy the blueprint. Plus, their social media is one of the better of the teams.
Oh, they do a good job. I'm not. No. I would never disparage the job that they do with all that. I really like all that, and it's good that they do all that. And maybe they're just trying to drive more people to that. But I mean, like, Rogers, from a lot of the stories I've heard, does not fight hard enough for this shit. And for all the money that they're spending, I think they got to put their foot down with this team. Dude, they're an NHL rights holder and they co-own the team. Mm-hmm. When you guys play, we have a mic on the bench, like once a game.
Maybe they don't want that.
They're wrong. If that's true, then they're wrong to not want that.
Because the team that we're talking about that is most stingent about these things is the owner, as you just outlined. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's from top down.
Well, and you look at it
That
from
doesn't make sense.
If you look at it from a business perspective, they have more to lose from the Leafs losing value than their media assets losing value, right?
Right.
The Leafs are, as of this morning, again, the most highest valued team in the NHL. They're now ahead of the Rangers. They always kind of lead.
Oh, they passed them?
They just passed them this morning.
Oh, wow.
According to Forbes, who really knows. And I look at that from a Rogers perspective, and I go, well, wait a second. That's nice that we have this media division, which is less than 5% of our total revenue for the entire company. All of what Rogers and Bell hold, right, in terms of media assets, it's less than 5% of their total revenue for the entire year.
So get rid of it then.
Well, Rogers made their money to grow into the beast that they are from media. So that's a legacy thing that the family wants to hang on to, which is why they have.
So cherish it.
And
cherish it and take care of it.
remember,
Do a good job with it.
and you know this from working at these companies, there are a lot of middle management types, and there's a lot of blocking to get anything done. It takes forever. So it's going to have to come from the NHL. And here's the thing. They could go back to the NHL and say, no, because the game already sells here. We don't have to do that. Those guys have to do that. We don't have to do that. We're the Leafs. And
That's
in a vacuum,
that's
they're
unacceptable.
But it's also, it's
Unacceptable.
not a great way to sell the game to younger fans. And I think the league is starting to worry about the demographic shifts. And they should. They should. Right? Hockey sign-up is at an all-time low in this country.
I just don't understand how you pay over $5 billion for something, and then you're like, excuse me, mister, could we please get a mic on the bed? Like, what the fuck? What do we pay you money for? What are we paying for right now? Give us the premium everything. Rogers should not have to ask the NHL for permission for anything, man. Mm-hmm. Everything they want, they should get. And in my experience, that's not even close to the case.
But you would also agree, and we'll take it out of the Toronto context for a second. We all agree that the NFL and the NBA have made gargantuan leaps forward, especially in the last 10 years, by selling star power, right? The stars, they sell the stars in their game. You know, that you think about, Tom Brady jerseys are still among the hottest sold in the NFL. You look at, the way like LeBron and Chris Paul and some of the great players of this generation, they were the story. When you go on to when you watch First Take, if you ever watch First Take, it comes on TSN at 10 a.m. So I'll have it on, especially if there's a big basketball story. I know that they're not going to lead with the crest. They're going to lead with this player.
Oh, yeah.
Did they perform? Did they underperform? Should they be suspended indefinitely? Whatever it is, this is the big story. They talk about players, and they talk about usually the same guys, and that is selling the game.
It's been like 48 hours of Draymond.
100%. 100%.
Because why not? That's a crazy clip.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah.
And I think the NHL is finally starting to understand, maybe we need to do the same. Because the crest on the front matters, but the crest on the front doesn't mean shit if your team doesn't have stars. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. By the way, have you guys seen the new Austin Matthews commercial? I think it's Sick Kids.
Yeah, it's
where
awesome.
he walks to the room and the girl just starts screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, that's the personality of Austin. He did a good RBC commercial. He's done a good Sick Kids spot. That's the personality we keep hearing about, but we never get to see.
Oh, he does not have a money allergy, that guy.
Well, he also has a good personality, though, is my point.
He does. No, every time I've talked to him, he's been like pretty animated. He's a pleasure to deal with, and like he knows the game, and there's an element of get in, get out without being rude that all the stars have, the best stars have, and he's got it. Other players walk in on like NHL Media Day, and you feel like you're inflicting your presence upon them by putting a camera and microphone in their face, and like you feel bad as the person speaking to them. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No, this is Media Day. This is what you're here for. Why are you walking in here like a storm cloud? That's why I love dealing with that guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, I didn't force you to be here. Take it up with your team.
Hey, this episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. Now, I want to say that we've been talking about this for weeks. It is a tough time of year when you look at your watch and you go, wow, it's dark outside and it's 4:45. Stinks. Now, what did you were saying something earlier.
It's 10 days until the shortest day of the year, and then after December 21st, all the days get longer.
We start working backwards.
Yeah. But then
Winter
it's-
solstice.
But then it's cold, and it's really cold, and that can be hard on your mental health, and that's why we recommend, and this is something that I do every single month. Sometimes on the harder months, I go to every week. I'm not going to lie. Seeing a therapist.
Good for you.
You know, it can really, really help you. It's important to go to the gym. It's important to eat well, and it's important to make sure your mental health is taken care of. And the great thing about BetterHelp is there's plenty of ways that you can reach out. You get matched with somebody in like 48 hours. If that doesn't work out, because you need to have like a chemistry, right? Like I got a chemistry with these guys. You got to have a chemistry with your therapist, right?
Thanks, Boo.
Basically, if that doesn't work, then they'll switch you to somebody else, and maybe you try that out. You can do it over text. You can do it over video call. You can do it over phone call. And again, like we said, you can get started really, really quickly. It's the season of giving, and you should give to yourself with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/STP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/STP. Moving on to the next thing. What do you guys think about this? So Freege talked about Patrick Berglund's contract termination in Buffalo in 2018. Buffalo, if you don't remember, terminated his contract. Berglund didn't want to be there. He left. Okay. Corey Perry's contract was terminated. Now, we don't know if we don't know how this is going to go, and there's obviously no desire to minimize anything, as Freege says, but apparently there are strong feelings that the NHL cannot allow this precedent. The PA, that is, the NHLPA. So we've seen this before where they've said, here are the rules, except for this guy.
Yes.
Mike Richards is one of those guys.
That's still one of the craziest and most egregious.
And it was never explained. We don't know what happened.
Yeah,
and he's still getting paid.
The Kings should be on the hook for so much more against the cap for Mike Richards.
What do you think? Like, we talk about the NHLPA being somewhat toothless. They did a great job with the handling of the Columbus situation with Babcock. Do you think that this is something that they should pursue? Or do you just walk away?
This is a really difficult one because I think in order to pursue it, you risk the full and complete story getting out there. And you risk the full and complete story getting out there and it not being a very nice one. And then you're on the side of defending that player and making sure, no, this guy needs to get his money. Now, if you're a lawyer listening to this right now, you're like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And I understand you thinking of it that way. That's why you get paid the big bucks. But in the court of public opinion, it's gonna go over like a wet fart. So I don't know what to do with that one. Like he's such a long tenured player. He's given lots of money to the NHLPA over the years. I think it's going to take Corey Perry demanding it of the NHLPA for it to happen. Even though the NHLPA has gotten better at doing their job under Marty Walsh than Eric Fair, I still don't think they're going to get out of bed.
Don Fair, but yeah.
What'd I say?
Eric.
Oh, did I really?
Former Leaf.
That's
Former
funny.
Leaf, former Cap, I think.
Former
Was he a
Cap.
Leaf? Right?
Yeah, he was.
Very
Second.
briefly.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry. Donald Fear. I still don't think the NHLPA is in the habit of getting out of bed unless you force them to.
Right.
So if Corey Perry fights for this, yeah, there's a good chance it becomes a big issue. Otherwise, like if Corey Perry doesn't want his money, like if he doesn't fight for his money, then I don't think anything's going to happen here.
Okay. All right. Did you guys see, obviously, we didn't talk about it a lot, but the changes to the All-Star Skills Challenge, 12 players, 6 events. You can sit out 2 events, but at the end of it, the winning player gets $1 million. And in order to kick this off, the NHL engaged the best player in the league, Connor McDavid, and said, if we're going to do this, you need to compete. And he agreed to do it.
Yeah, because there's $1 million and heated driveways don't pay for themselves. I love that. No, I love that. Like, $1 million is, I was about to say $1 million is going to mean a lot to an NHL player. I think NBA players would be pretty jacked for $1 million too. But that's going to mean a lot more to an NHL player. We're talking about like potentially a double-digit percentage of their annual income.
And they don't have to pay escrow or their agent.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Like, I mean, you can kind of tell by body language going to these events that they just treat it like a casual fuck around, you know? And like the fastest skater events where McDavid has lost, you're sitting there like, yeah, no, but he's the fastest. Like, I think you're going to see records broken. I think you're going to see guys fall. I think you're going to see emotion. Like when guys don't win, they're just sort of like, I didn't have it today. There's $1 million on the line, man.
Better have it today.
There's going to be some passion.
Yeah.
There's going to be some passion behind the All-Stars competition. Thank God for that.
Jesse, what do you think?
Yeah, good for them making the change. I think, it'll hopefully fuel competition. That's all we're asking for out of the All-Star games, to have a modicum of, hey, these guys actually care about this. So that's good.
I hope it goes to I hope the player who makes the least wins. I think that'd be great. Someone on like League Min makes the All-Star game and they win more than their current contract.
Would be great.
Hell yeah.
Noah Gregor, fastest skater.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I would love that. That'd be hilarious.
And quickly on this, we talked about Kyle Connor and Ryan Strome. There was no disciplinary action taken against Ryan Strome for the knee on Kyle Connor.
And Kyle Connor
is at 68 weeks.
Yeah, one of the league's leading goal scorers is at 68 weeks. Sick league.
Yeah. Now, do we want to do a press conference or are we rapid, Jess?
I got a question for you guys.
Hit us.
Is there a problem with the NHL standings? The Seattle Kraken are 10, 14, and 7. So if you look at their record, they're 10 and 21 in terms of wins and losses, right? They have 27 points. The Anaheim Ducks are 10 and 18. They have no overtime wins or no overtime losses. They have 20 points, 7 back of the Kraken, second last in the West. Is that wrong?
It feels weird, doesn't it? Is it wrong?
I mean, it definitely feels weird. I'm also looking. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Kraken minus 17, Ducks minus 22. So here's the thing. Winning in regulation is a skill. We know that. We wish the Leafs did it more. But also, avoiding losing in regulation is a skill. And the Leafs have done it a ridiculous amount of times. Like, they've only lost, I think, 6 regulation games or something like that. Jesse's scrolling up. 6. Only one more than the Boston Bruins, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's really good. They're right up there with the best in the league. So I'm not totally loving the fact that the Kraken are getting all these benefits from losses, but also we shouldn't prop up the Ducks because they're getting their ass kicked. Like, if you're losing in regulation, you got your ass kicked. Mm-hmm. Certainly worse than a team who found a way to get it to overtime.
Mm-hmm. Are those overtime losses that they had 7 extra worth 7 points in the standings?
Well, I've always, been on board with the 3-2-1 standings, but they're never going to adopt it. So I've stopped dreaming that dream. I agree with you. I think loss is not half a win.
I'm not making a point on either side. I
agree with. Oh wait, you were the one who asked the question.
Yeah. I'm asking the question. I thought you were taking a stance. No.
I think a win, it should be more than double a loss. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It should be a regulation win should be 3 points.
You shouldn't get points for losing
at all,
ever. No.
Even in a shootout.
Even in the shootout, you should not get points for losing. I've been on this forever. Man, overtime, you want to make overtime exciting and you want it done before the shootout? Fucking just take the loser point away.
Adam's scenario is far more likely than mine. The 3 for a regulation, 2 for an overtime.
That would be such an NHL thing to do. Just like, let's make this as complicated as we can.
No, I don't even think they would do that. I don't think. I think they'd be more likely to go with your plan, which is nope. If you lose, you lose.
I prefer that. I
don't hate it, man.
This question's from Parker. Parker writes on our Discord server. My dad recently sold his motorbike with professionally done Humboldt Broncos artwork on it, and the person who bought it was Avalanche head coach Jared Bednar.
Cool.
No way.
Wow.
He is from Saskatchewan, and so are we. He got a hold of my dad and said, you can come to any Avalanche game you'd like. We immediately wanted Leafs tickets. Some of the Avalanche staff said any other game works than that one. So we get to pick Stars, Hawks, Preds, or Red Wings. We have already watched Bedard 3 times in the WHL. What game would you pick to get box seats at?
Okay. Stars, Hawks, Red Wings, or
Preds.
Preds?
You want to? I think Stars. You want a heavyweight tilt.
Oh,
And Nathan,
yeah.
by the way, that Nathan McKinnon hit yesterday.
Oh my God.
People forget how evil Nathan McKinnon can be. He's Kucherov crazy sometimes.
He's a train.
Yeah.
He's a train. He's way bigger than Kucherov. To me, so I'm eliminating Bedard because you basically told me to. I'm eliminating the Preds because what are we doing here? So, no, like in terms of Avalanche rivals, what are we doing?
Yeah.
No. So it's down to Detroit.
Which is one of the most classic rivals of our lifetime.
Absolutely. Or there's the Stars, who, like, that very likely could be the
Western Conference Final.
Western Conference Final. See, the last time the Avalanche played the Stars, didn't the Stars kick their ass?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I'm going to pick Detroit. Just so you could say you saw that classic matchup, Colorado-Detroit.
I want Dallas. I want Dallas. I want to live in the now. And
Hot damn.
those two could play each other pretty deep.
Well,
in the
live in
playoffs.
the now.
I think that could be a really great game to be at. Hilarious they wouldn't let you go to the Leaf games. Just goes to show Leaf fans are everywhere.
That is so...
Yeah.
We are a disease.
How crazy is that they couldn't give you tickets to those because
Any
they're
game.
taken.
This game. Not that one, but any game. It's very funny. Very funny.
This one is from Fishy Peg Leg. I thought it was very interesting. Trevor Zegras, 12 games played so far this season. He's been injured a little. 2 points.
Oh, I was like, 12 goals, hot damn.
2 points. 1 goal, 1 assist. Connor Ingram, 17 games played.
No.
2 assists.
No!
Wow. Just wanted to get Steve's opinion on Zegras' underrated bad start to start the season, especially after just signing the new deal, which was, reminder, 3 years by $5.75 million. I know he's on IR, the comment says, but still seems really bad.
Young player, misses training camp, signs a new deal, doesn't play well. I've seen this before. This doesn't mean Trevor Zegras is going to suck forever.
It does. He's over.
Yeah.
Trevor Zegras is over party.
Is over party. Join Freege there, Zeegs. No, I mean, he's not going to forget how to play hockey. But boy, the Ducks lose a lot of games, and they lost a lot of games last year. And at some point, Trevor Zegras is going to need to be good on a team that is watchable. And he hasn't been for the vast majority of his NHL career. And if he's going to be taken seriously in this league, that has to change.
He has to drive that.
He has to drive that.
change. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He can't sit there and go, ugh, why don't they surround me with this or that? I'm not saying that.
You gotta be it a little bit, yeah.
He needs to be
Like-
the world beater.
Like Line, despite the fact that he has garbage to play with, still does score goals. Not as many as he should. I think Patrick Laine, we're seeing his youth robbed from him. He needs to go to a team with a real centerman who's going to set him up.
He's closer to 30 than 20.
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But Laine still does drive results. Zegras needs to show that he can do that. Mm-hmm. I have a question for both of you.
Are you moving on from this?
Oh, no. Okay, you can keep going with this.
Yeah, no, just because just for the context of Zegras, he was placed on injury reserve retroactive to November 10th. And they were talking about he was playing. It's a lower body injury. I still don't even know what the actual injury is because NHL teams never give out those details. But he was playing through the injury a little. So Ducks fans, there's a little solace you can take in that. 2 points in 12 games isn't good, but he might have been injured for the majority of it. Plus, you don't have a training camp and you're injured. That's a recipe for a disaster.
Oh, I don't think there's a probably about it. I think you're 100% right. He was hurt the whole time.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the jersey I'm wearing. I just realized.
The Ducks jersey. So there you go. There's don't be like so down on Zegras, Ducks fans.
Trevor Zegras is not over yet party.
Yes. I think that's a great rolls off the tongue.
Title
Guys,
of the episode right there.
Alexander Ovechkin has not scored a goal in 11 games. Is Alexander Ovechkin ever going to score again?
Is it Alexander Ovechkin is over party?
No, seriously though. I know that he'll score goals. Will he ever score at the rate that he did even last season ever again?
So we talked a lot about Ovi breaking Gretzky's records. And that was with the assumption he was still, even if he falls off a bit, going to score 30 goals. Now he's something like 65 goals back of the record. And it looks like a mountain to climb.
But it's Ovi.
But it's easier to score in the NHL today than it has been at any other point in Ovechkin's career, save for maybe his rookie year. Teams are scoring more on average. And what we're seeing with a lot of older guys, Sidney Crosby among them, is they're fighting the age curve when it comes to their production because the game is shifting in a way that is allowing them to have a longer, more effective career. And it is having the complete opposite effect for Ovi.
Now, is that the type of game that he plays? Is it just bad luck? I mean, the Caps have been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he looks kind of sluggish, though. And, like, even though they've been good, they haven't been scoring goals. Like, this is a team propped up a lot by goaltending, which is honestly not what I predicted at all. It's Ovi, so you never quite bet against him, but we're coming up on 30 games here. Like at
I
what?
think 5 goals he's got. Something like
Yeah, like at what point he's we've been saying that for weeks because it's been true for weeks. Either he's going to bust out of the slump soon, or that might be it. Like Gretzky's record might be a lot safer than we think.
We'll see.
Oh, no. I think he does it. He hangs around. He picks it up
Till he's
midway.
48.
He picks up midway through this season. I think Ovi will be fine.
I wouldn't be shocked, but it's not looking good.
Adam, you read my mind. I don't know how you did it, but I wanted to end the show on this little note from our Discord from soap_dispenser. It is about the Washington Capitals. Every year on January 6th, the Washington Capitals should either host the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Colorado Avalanche, or the Carolina Hurricanes, so the visiting broadcast team can really lean into the Storm the Capitals thing.
Oh.
This year,
Hilarious.
on January 5th, the Washington Capitals play the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh,
So close!
One day away from the Hurricanes storming the Capitol.
Tony
on
DeAngelo
January
returns.
6th. How hilarious is that?
Well, you still have to kind of go with it. By the way,
It is
for everybody
January
that doesn't
5th.
think this joke is funny, it's because 21 years hasn't passed yet. Was it the South Park thing? It's 21 years, now it can be funny?
Like 20.3.
Yeah, or something. I think it's hilarious, and yes, you must make a joke about it because life is tragic, and what is it without fun?
January
5th. Oh,
the Hurricanes visit the Washington Capitals, and it's a home game. We were one day away.
great if they had like their coach's pregame speech like out in a field somewhere, like like a rally.
And dude, it's the only look at the schedule. It's the only non-Saturday, or it's the only January 6th is the only Saturday of the whole month of January that the Capitals don't have a game.
I think they did it on purpose.
I think you're right.
They play every Saturday.
That's
except for
hilarious.
this one time.
And it's January 6th.
And it's the Hurricanes who are the Storm Surge team?
That rules. That's
Are you
amazing.
kidding me?
That's perfect.
Yep. It's
One
great.
day off.
Great.
All right, that's it.
Great. On the Washington Capitals, Jesse, I just want to add one last thing too. On pardon the interruption, Tony Kornheiser said, "I have tried to come up with the exact right word to express what I think about Ted Leonsis driving a stake through the middle of downtown D.C., the capital of the United States of America." And the word I've come up with is villainy.
Yeah, the dude's a cheap, rich asshole. That's all it is. He wants to get $600 million out of taxpayers, either from Virginia or Washington D.C., and he's a billionaire.
Yeah, but if
he's
people
a dick.
if people are paying for it, then the tickets are free.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Yep.
No, they get to benefit from the profits because they have a profit sharing agreement with the Capitals. So if the Capitals and the Wizard make a profit, then that definitely goes back to the taxpayers.
Always. Definitely. And not the next asshole who asked for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Just saying.
One of these days, we'll figure it out.
One of these days. Hey, we love you. We hope you have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget, Steve Dangle Podcast live in Kingston, January 21st. Get your tickets. We will see you there.
Let's storm Kingston.
Yeah!
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.